The alarm clock buzzed at 4:30 a.m., a sharp, metallic sound that sliced through the absolute darkness of the small apartment. Maya did not jump. She lay still for a heartbeat, listening to the hum of the city outside before rolling out of bed. Her joints protested, a dull ache radiating from her knees to her lower back, the lingering toll of a double shift from the day before. She stood in the center of the room, waiting for her balance to steady. The floorboards groaned under her weight as she moved toward the kitchen. Every step was measured, silent, and practiced. She reached for the bread, her fingers stiff, and packed a sandwich and a sliced apple into a plastic lunchbox. She moved to the hallway, laying out the small uniform on the chair, ensuring everything was ready for the morning. The apartment remained cold, the air thin and still. She pulled her coat tight, checked the latch on the front door, and stepped out into the hallway. By 5:15 a.m., she was standing at the bus stop, her breath visible in the morning mist, waiting for the transit bus. The day had begun. The warehouse was a cavern of constant, low-frequency vibration. Maya stood on the concrete floor, her feet aching within seconds of the first bell. The conveyor belt hummed, a steady, mechanical drone that dictated the pace of her life. Packages slid past in an endless gray stream. She grabbed, scanned, and shoved them into bins, her movements blurring into a single repetitive arc. Her fingers grew numb, the skin raw from the friction of cardboard edges. The air smelled of dust and ozone. Halfway through the morning, the belt speed increased. The machines whirred louder, demanding more focus, more speed. Maya did not look up. She could not. She reached for a heavy box, her shoulder muscles tightening, and pivoted to drop it into the correct chute. The concrete floor felt harder with every passing hour, sending shocks of pain up her shins. She focused only on the next package, then the next. Her hands moved with a mechanical precision that felt detached from her own body. She was a gear in a machine that never stopped. The high-pitched whistle cut through the warehouse noise, signaling the start of the break. Maya stepped away from the conveyor belt, her legs feeling like lead weights. She retreated to a corner near the loading dock, away from the chatter of other workers. She sat on a stack of wooden pallets, the rough wood biting into her skin. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached into her pocket. She pulled out a crumpled utility bill, the paper soft and worn. A bright red stamp across the center read, "Past due." She stared at the numbers, then mentally checked the coins she had left in her purse. The math was simple, cold, and impossible. She looked at the sandwich in her lunchbox, then back at the bill. The hunger in her stomach was sharp, but the threat of the lights going out was sharper. She slowly closed the lunchbox, the snap of the plastic lid echoing. She tucked the bill back into her pocket, pressing her hand against it. She leaned her head back against the cold metal wall, closed her eyes, and waited. She would not eat today. It was a calculation of survival. The bus ride home blurred into a gray haze of streetlights and tired faces. When Maya finally reached her front door, she paused, leaning her forehead against the wood for a long moment. She inhaled the scent of the hallway, a mix of floor wax and stale air, and let the tension drain from her shoulders. She turned the key. The lock clicked, and before the door was even fully open, Anaya was there, a blur of motion in the narrow entryway. "Mom, I got a star in class today!" Anaya shouted, her voice bright and piercing. She thrust a notebook forward, the pages fluttering. Maya dropped her heavy bag, the thud echoing against the floorboards. She knelt on the worn carpet, the fabric rough against her knees. She took the notebook, her fingers brushing the paper. There it was, a gold sticker, gleaming under the dim light of the hallway. She traced the edges of the star with her thumb. "That is my girl," Maya whispered, the words catching in her throat. She pulled Anaya into a firm, grounding embrace, wrapping her arms around her. They sat on the floor, sharing a simple meal of soup and bread. The room grew dim as the city lights began to flicker outside the window. Maya read a storybook aloud, her voice steady. weaving a world of calm that pushed the day's fatigue into the shadows. Once the story ended, she moved with practiced efficiency. She washed the dishes, scrubbed the counter until it gleamed, and checked the locks of the windows one last time. She walked to the bedroom and watched Anaya sleeping soundly. Maya turned off the light. She reached for the clock and set the alarm for 4:30 a.m. She took a deep, slow breath, letting the darkness settle around her. She closed her eyes. Tomorrow would demand everything she had, but she was ready. She had everything she needed right here.